Hello everyone and welcome to the studios again at Culpeper Media Network. My name is Jonathan Krawczuk and it is my pleasure once again to welcome a wonderful young lady and her dog. Ladies and gentlemen, again, welcome Patty Werick. Patty, it is great to see you again.
Thank you, John. It's lovely to be here again.
Now, Patty, we have done a number of shows highlighting the Culpeper Humane Society and the work that you guys do. For those who are just tuning in, or just, to remind me, there are some very important programs that Culpeper Humane Society does for the community of Culpeper. Can you kind of give us an overview of your main programs and why they're important?
Yes, I can. I like to start from the top that our vision is of a no-kill community. And having established that as our main goal, then we've strategized to produce programs that will lead us in that direction. And the biggest is spay and neuter. And of the 4 programs we offer, 3 are free. And that's TNR, Trap, Neuter, and Release of Feral Community Cats. And we also offer free spay and neuter for people who are eligible to do so, and low-cost spay and neuter for Culpeper County residents. Right. And I should say that our transports go out 4 or 5 times a month to accommodate TNR and the spay-neuter of cats and dogs separately. And then the pit fix. I always forget the pit fix. That's very important. Anybody with a pit bull or pit bull mix gets free spay and neuter. And these all come with the rabies and distemper shots.
And then, of course, the pet pantry program.
And then the pet pantry program. So the spay and neuters, actually prevent more unwanted pet population. The pet pantry helps us keep pets in homes rather than being surrendered to the shelter because of lack of food or care. So let's see, I think we hand out like almost 15,000 pounds of free pet food every year. Yeah. And with the pandemic, that rose from 12,000 pounds a year to 15,000 because the need is greater. And we have done well in this county holding on to that, prevention of owner surrender.
And in our past programs, we have gone in depth into all these topics.
Yeah.
And I would invite, if anybody wants to view those, those are available on our website. Yeah. There's links, I'm sure, on your website, also your Facebook page. And since I mentioned those, I will remind myself that you can be found on Facebook, facebook.com/Culpeper Humane Society. Culpeperhumane.org is your website. And if you shoot an email, it's info@culpeperhumanesociety.com. And so, as in the past, we've gone through these amazing programs. One of the things I want to touch back on again is, first off, and you kind of alluded to it right there. It's a sense of community.
Yes, absolutely.
And we talk about all these programs are for the benefit of not only the animals in Culpeper, and as we work towards a no-kill. Oh, somebody was saying hi. We're going to get to you in just a minute. But also the way that you work with volunteers, the partnerships that you provide to make it work.
Yes.
And those are things that we've seen throughout our total conversation that I think need to be brought up once again. The fact that you work with so many different organizations towards a common goal is really quite amazing.
And necessary. That's why I say a no-kill community. I don't say no-kill shelter. That implies that we're just focusing on that. It takes a whole community to make it no-kill. So we joint venture with other rescues so that we can complement one another and aid each other. And we seek the help of local businesses that can provide funds and products to us, and also our volunteers we recruit from our community.
Now,
she's snoring. That's what it is.
Is that what she's doing?
Yes, she's already found us boring and has gone to sleep.
I'm sure there are a lot of folks curious about who this beautiful young lady is.
Yeah.
I have understood that this is Moo, right?
This is Moo.
Well, okay, tell us a little bit about this beautiful Chihuahua.
Okay, so if you had, Moo is because she's black and white, but Cow was not sexy enough, so we went with Moo. And she is from a puppy mill bust. I was just the schmo sitting there at the shelter when the ACO brought in 11 of these Chihuahuas, and they were in very bad condition. They could not stay in the shelter. They needed to be in foster homes. And they looked at me, and I'm like, I'm waiting for my kittens. I don't even like Chihuahuas. They're not even dogs to me. You know, I like my big dogs.
Yeah.
So if you had told me that it would have taken a crowbar to get her away from me after 48 hours, I wouldn't have believed it. But I've totally embraced owning a Chihuahua now, as you can tell.
I think we can tell, yes.
Yeah, I have a lot of clothes for her, and she adores them too. She loves her clothes.
Well, you know, it's a great little segue, because this is an untold story that folks have not heard or seen, because Moo is just adorable, by the way.
She is. She's very cute.
But these are just the little stories. Like, you never pegged yourself as a Chihuahua person or a small dog person.
No.
But there are plenty of other stories that we have not heard.
Yes, that's right, that don't fit into our usual programs. We're in rescue. That's what volunteers do. But Moo is an example of a puppy mill bust, and why we need foster homes. And I did say, and she was the last one that didn't find a foster home to go to, so I grabbed her, and they needed fluids around the clock. They were very dehydrated. You can see that on the top of her head, she has an old scar. When I got her, that wouldn't heal. It took me a long time to get it to heal, and the hair has never grown back. She was probably injured and never got the care she needed. So it took months to get her back into shape and to straighten her digestive system out. So this is why foster homes are so critical. And I have lots of experience. I've attended workshops and have been trained to do this. And that's what we offer our fosters. We will train you to do this kind of work. I mean, there's certainly cats and dogs not in this bad a condition, but we offer a lot of training, so it's a good educational experience for people.
When we had our program, when we were talking about fostering, it was really amazing to see an example of, Moo right here.
Yeah.
That we're not only helping the animals in the community, but also enriching the lives of the community members themselves.
Yes.
I can only imagine what Moo has done for you over the years. And I can only imagine what all the animals that you fostered have done for you and your family over the years. Yes. And this story has been duplicated all over the Culpeper community because of the efforts of the Culpeper Humane Society.
That's right.
Now, I want to go back. Moo is a great story. Are there any other interesting stories that maybe, in our run of this program have not had the opportunity to hear?
I'm so glad you're asking me about this, because yes, there's so many things that our volunteers do independently, and because we are in rescue, we have some resources and we can help the animals in our community. We don't even think about it because it's just part of what we do. For instance, last year, a family's house burnt down, and all they had left was the clothes on their back and their car. And he had 5 children. He and his wife had 5 children. Because they were a large family, they couldn't all stay together. They had to split the family up into different places. Well, this meant that their 3 family dogs had nowhere to go and couldn't be brought into other people's homes. They may have had a dog, they may have had allergies, the house may not have been big enough. So what we did is we took those dogs and put them into a kennel, Quail View Kennel, which wonderful, wonderful. Tamara Lee owns it and operates it, and she has been just a wonderful asset. She's a volunteer with Culpeper County, with Culpeper Humane Society as well, and offering us a discount. Took those dogs for 6 weeks, and we paid for it, but at a discount. And the dogs were not up to date on their vaccines, so we took them in to have them vaccinated, and one had an ear infection that we took care of because this family had no money, and by the time insurance came in, it wouldn't have been enough. So we took care of all of that for this family. So you can imagine when they were able to get another home and move in, that they were very happy to have their dogs back. And this is a family of 5 children. Those there was a suggestion made that he relinquish them to the shelter. And he said, no, those are my children's dogs, and they have lost everything. I don't want them to lose their dogs as well. And he would take them to visit the kennel and visit them too. So I'm glad that we could help, because I mean the whole community pitched in to help this lovely family, and we were able to as well.
That is an amazing story. And it's one of those things, you're so devastated by what has happened. And then, you look at your dogs and, you're at a loss at what to do. And to have the Culpeper Humane Society come in and be able to provide continuity and that love for the family is really an amazing offering. And, I'm sure they were unbelievably happy that you all did that.
Absolutely, and that's why I think of us as a civic group, because of our helping with people. Every animal has people attached to it in some form, and we help those people.
Well, Patty, and I want to remind everybody, if they want to learn about any of these the fostering program, Pet Pantry, TNR, Spay and Neuter, there are, I think we've done a total of 6 or 7 shows, and we've gone into detail about all these, and really need to reach out and learn more about the Culpeper Humane Society. Just the story you just shared is one example of probably hundreds of stories that have gone and weaved their way for this Culpeper community. And the joy that animals bring to our lives is made possible by a lot of the work that you do. And so thank you.
Oh, you're most welcome. The real thanks is when you see faces that are so happy because you've helped that pet. Right now, I'm working with a disabled lady, and she's had enough. She's like, I'm no more paparazzi. I'm working with a disabled lady and her husband, who is also disabled. He's in a wheelchair. And they have 2 kitties, and one started flopping down, and it looked like he had a neurological disease. They have no money at all. And I've been feeding these cats for 4 years now, so I have a closeness with these people. So I've started taking them to the vets and having them vetted. They had fleas. One that I thought had a neurological disease actually just had a horrible ear infection, so we've been working on that. She's disabled. She cannot give pills and medicine like that, so I've gone over once a week to help her do the kitty's ears and to give him his shot. And she is the happiest person. I mean, their whole lives revolve around these 2 cats, because they give them a reason to get up in the morning, and it's their joy and pleasure, and they're purry love machines too. So
I like that, purry love machines.
Oh yes, very much so.
And you really are making a difference one family at a time, because as you told us with the story before, and again with the kitties, and my dog and Nicole's dogs, they're part of the family. That's who they are.
Absolutely.
And
yes.
You're really working to keep families together and happy.
Yes.
And it's really making a big difference.
Yes.
All right. So Patty, there is there's a lot that you do, but there's also a few folks that we have. We don't get a chance to speak with these individuals a lot, but there's a very special individual in studio here today. You may know him, but the audience has not yet met him. We've heard about him. We want to talk with him. Would you do me a favor and come back after we speak with this famous, wonderful gentleman?
I will. I'd be delighted, because then I can correct everything he says.
More to come with this episode as we learn about the Culpeper Humane Society. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the studio. For Patty Werick, this is a familiar face, but for you and I, it's our first time meeting Bill Werick. Bill, what a pleasure to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you, John.
You know, we have heard a lot about you, and I promise you, for the sake of the fact that cameras are on us, it was all good.
Of course.
It was all good.
That's what you'd say.
So, Bill, obviously, you and Patty have been, how long have you two been married?
43 years.
Goodness gracious. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's incredible.
It is.
So, have you been involved with animals for that 43 years?
No. As a matter of fact, when Patty met me, I had never had a pet, and her introduction to me was when I brushed cat hair off of my new bell-bottom pants. And her disdain for me at that moment couldn't have been greater.
And yet here you are 43 years later.
I changed.
As we talked about before.
Yeah.
So, you know, other than the obvious answer, how did you get involved with the Culpeper Humane Society? What is your role within the Culpeper Humane Society?
You know, it's flexible, and like a lot of other people, you look for opportunities to do good. But to undertake a challenge all by yourself is impossible. So often you just worry that you're not doing anything. Patty created this structure, and as time went by, there were niches that I could fill. So she would say, "Can you drive on Thursday?" And I would help animals by driving on Thursday. And then the time came and she said, "Can you start to take over the treasurer's role?" And for a long time, Patty still did most of it, but I'm learning and I'm starting to take those over now. So it was taking advantages of opportunities that were made for me.
So, what do you do? What is your day job? And do those skills translate to the Humane Society?
I think they do. My day job is I'm an engineer who helps countries or states that are fighting over water that they share. And I do that by building computer models that connect complex models that only scientists understand with the questions that decision makers and the people who are affected by these decisions are asking. And so one of the, not the whole thing, but one of the parts that I'm doing for Patty is building simple computer models that answer questions like, how much money are we spending on vets and how much money are we spending on food?
You know, you say the word simple, but I feel that it's anything but.
It can be quite complicated, but the end result has to be easy to use so that anybody whose lives are affected by these decisions can just ask questions.
Now, there's really a lot of questions that I have for you. I mean, working with this, this kind of feels like it's almost part of the infrastructure of how the Culpeper Humane Society operates. Do you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. You know, in the water conflicts that I deal with, I've found that my technical solutions may or may not work. It's really more important how that infrastructure for managing problems is set up. Whatever you look at, water or intelligence against foreign threats, whatever, if you have a lot of different entities that are working independently in silos that don't talk to one another, then the chances are that they will not solve problems because they don't look at the common factors that affect the end result. The institution that Patty created intuitively, as she said, it's built around the idea that Culpeper is a no-kill community. Very clear vision that everybody who volunteers knows, and they know that a no-kill community writ large means that Culpeper is a great place for people and animals to coexist. So in the stories that you heard, the management logic is clear. For Moo, or for the family that was hit by the fire, or for the disabled partner, this was a great community to have that happen. It's
incredible as you talk about use the example of the silos, and I've heard that terminology before in business and in some of the organizations, and I think, you know, actually there's a couple things. You said when Patty created intuitively.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show, you know, Patty's tremendous leadership.
Yeah.
And the ability to, as you said, not work in a silo, to work across is really, I think, another key to the success of the Culpeper Humane Society. And you know, as we've always heard, behind every great woman is an amazing man.
I'm glad to be behind.
Sorry, I had to
perfect,
take that opportunity. Perfect. So, you know, as we, and this is a question that I'm going to ask Patty when she returns to correct everything that you've said.
Of course.
But as we look forward for the Culpeper Humane Society, you said obviously the clear, concise vision that everyone operates with will obviously move forward. But what do you see moving forward for the Culpeper Humane Society as well?
Well, you know, the bad side of being married for 43 years is we probably won't be married 43 years from now. And there has to be a transition from the older to the younger generation. So that clear institutional arrangement that Patty has intuitively put together, that's collaborative and integrated, we're now in the process of documenting with rules and standard operating procedures, training young volunteers as they come on. This is how you make a decision because you remember your vision. And this is ultimately the test of Culpeper Humane Society, not that it just had a great few years, but that it becomes a permanent part of Culpeper and a hallmark of the county.
Very well said. And now another thing I want to ask you before we part ways today is, you know, you've come a long way, I would say, from wiping cat hair off your bell bottoms. Where do you stand now as an animal friend?
You know, I've come from a position of ignorance to learning, and I love dogs and cats, and horses now. Horses were the last challenge. But I understand their different sense of humors, the way they know things without ever going through the word stage. So I'm a transformed person.
And going back to what you said, I think there are a lot of folks, actually I'm going to couple that. You talk about being a transformed person, and we've talked about the ability to change.
Yeah.
In all aspects, whether it be in business, organization, or in your personal life. And looking forward, you know, looking back to where you are now, and as you mentioned, the Culpeper Humane Society moving forward is the ability for the next generation to come through to continue that mission, that vision of a no-kill community moving forward.
Yeah.
You know, not many people have the drive or the commitment, but there are people that have the opportunity. What do you say to those people who maybe have a few dollars or have some extra time? What do you say to those people to get them in the door so that they can get that passion to move the organization forward?
I would say that Patty's made it easy. For me, when I was really busy working, the opportunity to just drive once in a while made me feel good because I knew I was doing good, but I couldn't do more at the time. There are people who have less time than I did who can't volunteer to drive or to foster. And the thing is that we need money. We need money to buy pet food. We need money to pay veterinarians. And there are many opportunities to just contribute, and sometimes in exciting ways. There will be an online auction later this month, starts on May 20th, a week from today, right? And there's a chance you can bid online for really interesting services and products from local businesses that are also interested in Culpeper Humane Society. And it'll make a huge difference in our ability to fulfill the kind of stories that Patty told.
It really is, and when Patty shared those stories, and I'll say it again, those are only two examples.
Only two.
And the years that the Culpeper Humane Society has been active and involved in the Culpeper community, these are two stories, just two out of hundreds, if not thousands.
Yeah.
And while I have you here, and I'll say the same to Patty when she returns, thank you for what you do. You along with the Culpeper Humane Society, are making measurable differences in the community.
I accept your thanks, but you have to also understand it makes me feel good. It's a win-win.
Well, it has. This conversation has been a win-win. It has been a pleasure talking with you. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me, Jim.
And I look forward to seeing you again in the studio sometime soon.
Okay.
All right. Again, more as we learn or continue to learn about the Culpeper Humane Society. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the better half of the Werick family. Patty, thanks for coming back. I appreciate you taking the opportunity to let your husband have a few words.
Yes, I'm happy to have him have his few words. He's well-spoken, and he says he'll say the same thing that I'm saying, but he uses different words too, so it has a different slant to it. But what he says is just what is in the back of my mind right now is sustainability of our organization. I don't want to work, and my volunteers work so hard all these years only to have, when we're off the board, to have it fall back into, you know, a rut where we're not as productive. I want it to continue robustly as it is now.
And you know, and Bill made mention, we're all on the same page. But I do want to ask you, as Bill had mentioned when I asked about moving forward, and he had his comments. You were obviously sitting in the studio in there. So as we turn towards the future and look towards the future of the Culpeper Humane Society, obviously we want these amazing stories to continue. We want these differences to continue to be made as a no-kill community. But what else do you see moving forward for the Humane Society?
Well, for our organization, I have programs in my mind that I want to expand and explore more. One is Lost and Found. We have several social media sites but I'd like to make them into a more cohesive, so you only have to go to one place instead of, a lot of people don't know how many different ones there are. Yeah. And Lost and Found is just amazing community, people coming together and looking and getting those animals back home. It's tremendous. The other thing is the barn homes, you know, that mythical barn home that takes everything.
Yes.
There's got to be some out there that'll take one or two. Yeah. So I would like to start a more vigorous program of barn homes in the community and further out that we can put some of the Shire kitties in and semi-feral. The other program, which we have already started, is our internship program. We're working with some of the local community colleges to start an internship program where a college student during the summer can intern with us. Whatever, if it's marketing or creative side, or if it's writing or photography, or even just a business administration type, we can put them to work and they can earn a credit over their summer. So we've already put that together, and now we'd like to expand on that. And the other program is education. I'd love to start a program where we actually go into the schools and teach from the younger grades to the olders students about animal rescue and about animals, and introduce interesting, fun, creative programs, because it's hard to change great-grandpa's mind about dogs being livestock, but if I can get the grandson or the great-grandson and start schooling him at an early age, we can change the culture and treat our domesticated animals better.
You know, and yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. You know, education, you know, there are so many ways to work within the community, and I love the fact that you're looking at every single avenue and working, changing with the community's needs. Yes. To make sure that the organization and the vision of the organization continues to move forward.
Yes.
Now, as we move forward with the Culpeper Humane Society, and we talked about this before, there's only a few ways that this can work, and that's with not only the support of the community, but with the support of volunteers. Yeah. And you know, we've made mention of them a couple of times today, and we've made mention of those volunteers throughout every episode that we've done, and they really are the heart of your organization.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. The volunteers are part of the community, and so they bring their own resources with them. But the work that they do is astounding. I'm so proud of our hardcore volunteers, the transporters that we make 4 or 5 transports a month, taking dogs and cats to low-cost clinics, and some of them we travel an hour and a half each way to in our old funky van, and to get them all spayed and neutered for the community, the free and the low cost that helps people. And those drivers, it takes them 3 hours to do that. They have to drive all the way down there, drop the animals off, and drive all the way back. I then have a second driver go down to pick them up and drive back. So if anybody has 3 hours a month to contribute to transport, that is like platinum, because that's one of our basic pillars is spay and neuter, and we need transporters to do that with. We have a hardcore group now that is just amazing, and we give them all these transport dates the month ahead of time.
Yeah, and you know, for to be able to provide low-cost services, to be able to do these programs, you need to get the animals there.
Yes.
And obviously, that's definitely one of the most needs for the volunteers.
Yes.
But you know, you mentioned a need for drivers, but let me talk to you about some other needs. What can we do for you now? Like, what can I do for you now?
Well, volunteers are needed for our pet pantry, because not only of the rebagging efforts, if we get a 30-pound bag, we've got to break it up into 10-pound bags. We need people to rebag. We need people to go to the distribution center once a month. We distribute to feral cat colonies and the dogs that we unchain, and also people that are seniors and disabled that can't go to the once a month at the Methodist Church. We deliver to them, and so we need those for the pet pantry. We always need drivers, and the other thing that we really need is administrative people for our more creative side, like the website and writing press releases and writing grants. I mean, all of that
so
helps.
what I'm hearing is, no matter what you want to do, you can find something for somebody who wants to help make a difference.
And depending on the time that they have allotted, if they say, I only got a couple of hours a month or a couple of hours each week, you know, that I can do this with. If you want to bring your kids, I'll find something that you can do with your kids if you can give us some time, weekly or monthly. I mean, everybody has busy lives, so we're flexible in organizing that. Foster homes, we're always in desperate need of foster homes, and we will train for that. We vet our foster homes just like we do our adoptions, because we're responsible for these animals. We have to know where they're going and that they'll be well cared for. There's just so many opportunities within all these programs. If somebody wants to learn trapping, there's a fun thing to do. You get to stand out in sweltering weather and in freezing cold weather to trap these cats, and they are not grateful for this.
You're really selling it up there, Patty. You're really selling it.
Oh yeah, be a trapper, that's for sure. But to say that the trappers that we do have are just amazing people, and they're from different rescues, like For the Cat's Sake, Mad Cats in Madison, and the Culpeper Felines and Friends, and also Cat Action Team in Charlottesville. They all trap in our county. So we do all the paying of the bills, and we shuffle them back and forth to the clinics. But trapping is very gratifying as well. Shouldn't just dwell on that.
No. So now, Patty, as we look to close things out, again, it has been an absolute pleasure to speak with you and members of your team, your husband, and to learn about basically learn about how the Culpeper Humane Society operates. We've talked about partnerships, volunteering, the needs. It's amazing, when folks are like Culpeper Humane Society, they only see one distinct facet. Maybe they see a Facebook post. But when you learn, you take a couple minutes to either view these programs or dive a little deeper, there is so much more there's so much more to the Culpeper Humane Society.
I know a lot of people think that we foster and adopt, which we do, but that's only part.
It's only part.
It's only part of everything that we do. It's all strategically placed.
Well, Patty, it's been a blast talking with you, but I want to make sure that folks are able to contact you. Again, we mentioned it before, we'll do it again. You can find you on Facebook, facebook.com/Culpeper Humane Society. Culpeperhumane.org is your website. You can also email info@culpeperhumanesociety.com.
That's right.
And obviously, always in need of volunteers, donations, whether they be monetary or otherwise.
Exactly.
I would recommend to constantly keep checking the sites because, we've done coolers in the winter.
Yes.
For cat houses, you need drivers. It's always changing for the needs of the community, and we want to make sure people have the opportunity to help whenever they can.
Yes, thank you. That's well said.
Because we can make more stories like the ones you shared today.
Yeah.
Pulling at my heartstrings with Moo sitting here.
Yeah, she's a success story. She's lived a good life. She didn't have a very good life to begin with, but now she is. She's, yeah.
I'm just going to sit here and stare at Moo until we have to say goodbye.
I was going to put eyebrows on her. I've been known to do that too.
What, really?
Yeah, eyebrow pencil and do silent screen star eyes. Yeah.
I think you're going to have to do that when home and send us the picture so we can put it at the end of the credits.
I can do that. Oh, yes.
Patty, it has been an absolute pleasure to speak with you and learn about the organization that you so graciously care for.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for this opportunity. We appreciate that.
It has been our pleasure.
Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, again, if you want to help out or learn more about the Culpeper Humane Society, there's a lot to uncover in the wealth of services they provide to our Culpeper community. Again, you can find them on Facebook, culpeperhumane.org. Email them at info@culpeperhumanesociety.com. Either way, take the opportunity to help enrich the lives of the entire Culpeper community. Well, folks, until we see you again at one of the many volunteer organization opportunities that the Culpeper Humane Society has to offer, we hope you have a great day and, of course, a better tomorrow.